Welcome. This is the Bird's Eye View, and I'm here with always the lovely and outstanding Mr. Krow,
Hey, everybody,
and
good to see you.
I am the War
Yeah.
Duck. So today we're going to talk about a little bit of a touchy subject for some, but it's kind of something that for me is I'm starting to have to deal with a little more and more, and it'll get where I'll have to deal with it a whole lot. Having two daughters at the age of 6 right now, or about to be 6, and then as they go on later, it's just going to be more of a thing with the current situation we have going on. So
Yeah.
we'll lead off with CD Projekt Red. That's who made Witcher, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had this headline, and they're rolling out menstrual leave following GOG's new initiative. That's another gaming site. I can't remember what they stand for.
I can't remember what they stand for either. I'm trying to follow it real quick.
So they said it was experimental leave, breaking taboos, and another step toward making it even more inclusive workplace. But it won't
Good old
stop
games.
its
just so you know.
continuous effort to learn, reflect, and improve how we can do better for our team members. Now, I thought this was very interesting because in today's society, putting women first is something that kind of people have severely gone away from.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I mean,
because it's more of the equal.
yeah,
Yeah.
in like the 80s and 90s, it was all this big push with like Title IX and, and making, bringing women's sports to the fold to make them equal with men's sports, like the amount of scholarships and things available and the amount of women's sports available to equaling men's sports.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I remember.
the interesting thing is way back in the way back, I'm not sure exactly when, but there was a delineation to create just women only sports.
Yeah.
Because
That's how we get women's NBA.
because women just cannot compete with men in sports. They just can't. They're physically just built differently. That's the end of the line. Genetically, scientifically, they are just built differently. And nothing wrong with it. It's just it is a fact of life. That's just part of the thing. And this has nothing to do with mental ability at all. We're not talking about anything mental because that is
That's a whole nother topic
a whole nother thing. And just in my opinion,
This is
just women
physically.
are just smarter than guys in general. But
Yeah.
but
Why they live
we'll
longer.
set that aside for now, and we'll just talk about the physicality, the physics, the physical makeup of a man and a woman just are different. Like, name me one time that women have dominated a sport that had men in it. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, you can't. There's no such thing. There's not.
Yeah.
There's just not. And
And now I can't.
and that's part of the thing, right? Is in today's society, it's with the men just deciding to identify one day as a woman and play sports. Like the biggest one right now is Leah Thompson. So as a man, she was irrelevant in swimming. She was somewhere around 400, ranked 400 or 450 or whatever in men. Completely irrelevant to anything at all. And then she decides, you know what? I'm all of a sudden I'm a woman. And then for 1 year, she did testosterone blockers after she's already 20-ish, well, just 19, 20 years old. Gone through puberty as a man. Built like a man. And then she goes through 1 year of testosterone blockers to meet the qualifications. And then after that, then she's good to go. Doesn't mean she's on those blockers now. It doesn't even mean they're even testing for it.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought they were still on it. I assumed. That's what I
As
should.
far
I
as I
assumed
know,
that they
she
were still
had to
on it.
do the 1 year, and then once she got past that, she was certified to compete, and then now she doesn't have to be on blockers or anything like that.
That's interesting. Okay, I just assumed that they had to stay on it. So okay,
Now,
interesting.
now, there are many, 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 many laws protecting women from men.
Yeah.
Many laws.
Yes.
And you know, like the indecent
there's a ton.
exposure and you know and sexual harassment and a lot of that was just protecting women as a whole, and you know, and men,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of these laws were men only.
I think they were started because of yes.
And then they were
I'd agree with
created
that.
or to include women because let's just face it, there's a lot of dickheads out there, and a lot of guys were in power and they were using that to
Yep.
harass women or to try to make women do other things. Okay, so
Yep. Totally agree.
so here comes Leah Thompson. Penn State gives her a scholarship because whatever. And then she's just went through the one, she never had any surgeries, never had any of this, went through the 1 year testosterone blockers, and then she goes into the women's locker room with all the other teammates swinging dick in the shower. Oh, by the way, still attracted to women.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
So now all these women are being forced to deal with a man in their locker room
who identifies as a woman. A man who
who says, because there's no way to prove
exactly.
one way or the other. Right? That's the whole thing. Like, go if you're such a woman, go get your shit cut off. Go get it cut off and go get it fixed. And at least that way, you're that much closer to being the woman you say you identify as. And then those women that are in the locker room with you, maybe it's not, you know, it's a little more protected for them instead of just swinging in the you know, because where are they to go? That was their place, right? They could go to the locker room, be amongst other women, and then not have to feel like they could be predatorized or whatever, right? They just could go about their business and do a thing. Now all of a sudden you got all swinging sack in there.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
There was another story about a lady and her teen daughters went to a spa. They were out hanging out naked in the sauna with everybody, or the hot tub with everybody. Then here comes some dude swinging balls, come in and sit down, spread eagle in the hot tub. And the lady got up and like was freaking out, went to the front desk and, you know, was like, hey, there's a dude in the hot tub with my my daughters. What the, you know, and they were like, oh, nothing we can do about it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, the law's got to still be on the books.
Yeah. How do you, but yeah, it's, how do you fight that? How do you go against it? Because right now it feels so much in favor of I identify as a woman or I identify as a guy, you know, and vice versa. It's both ways. But how do you say, look, you're a man in the women's, and they're like, well, no, I identify as a woman.
It used to be you had to go through your so in even with passports, you had to go through the surgery. You had to have a doctor's letter that said you had made the transition, and then they would change your gender to whatever it was you went to.
And now
that's how you protect people.
This is something I can't remember what my wife said, but just what you just said, they have added something, I think, if I recall right, so my wife is, you know, deals with premature babies who come early, you know, for those who may not know, it's you know, they just come a fully termed baby is like what 40 weeks or something like that, and she takes care of them anywhere from like 25 weeks to 39 weeks. So they're born early, which means they need a little bit of help sometimes because they're not fully developed. And now on their birth certificate, there's another option. There's like it's so weird. It's like it's a male, it's a female, and my wife is there to, be like waiting for the doctor to say it's a male or it's a female, and they check the boxes and they do all their stuff. But now they kind of wait, and they have to wait on the feedback from the parents, and it's so weird because
See, this used to be, well, I think it was classified as a mental health problem. But but here's the thing: is now on passports, now you can get an X gender marker.
yeah,
You get
yeah.
male, female, or X. So it
Yeah,
used to
it's
be
so
it used to be a critical part of identity.
yeah.
Now it's not. But so back to this sports stuff. So this is
Okay.
baby or female Tyson, the greatest female fighter kickboxer of all time, going
Okay.
against Joe Schmo, regular fighter guy, just nobody, right? This is the
Okay.
and then this is the dude just crushing her, right? Because how else was this gonna end? This guy's a nobody, and she was the most predominant fighter kickboxer. An amateur Muay Thai fighter against Lucia Reitker.
Okay.
So, like, how else was that going to end, right? There's a reason that there's not men in women's fighting sports, right? Like,
Yeah.
but it's just all sports. Like, okay, if you maybe, well, I was going to say racing, but I can't think of a female fighter that's or a female racer that's winning any of these against the guys anyway. I mean, as
See, and I
celebrated as
know
Danica Patrick was, she didn't ever win anything.
we have like in the paintball tournament and stuff, we have female teams too. And we have women on the teams as well. Like it's a mix. It can but we have an all females team, but they still compete against the men's, and they don't I don't want to say they're horrible. They're not horrible. They're not the greatest. They're not the top 10. Like I'm thinking of who all the pros are in paintball, and none of them are women. There's no
So,
pro paintball
so,
woman.
this,
They're fun to play with.
and this is the thing is like sports with equalizers like equipment, right? But even
Yeah.
then, there's no woman motocross rider, motorcycles, right? Competing against men at that top level, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the motorcycle should be the great equalizer, right? But it's still a physical aspect of controlling that
Yeah.
bike. And there's
It
and
just
and
yeah.
and like and I'm not disparaging women because I like I'll watch I don't watch pro sports, but I watch college sports, and I all the time watch women's volleyball, I watch women's basketball, I watch lacrosse, I watch women's soccer. I enjoy some of these sports, but I would not enjoy them at all if it was a bunch of dudes going against a bunch of women. That's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not on the same thing, and that's part of the issue is you're like now it's like now they're trying to come up with these words for women, right? Like, oh, you're a menstruator, or you're a birther, right? It's like
Oh yes, yes, I've heard that one.
it's like
I was yes, it was so weird because I ran it. Yeah, again with my wife or something. She was telling me that she'd ran into somebody who's like, "Oh yeah, my birther is so and so," and I was just like, "What? What's a birther?" My wife was like, "That's her
right,
mom."
it's like erasing women, and it's totally
That's
eroding
so
women's
weird.
rights. And like I honestly can't believe feminists that the feminist group that always
Are
push for
allowing it.
women's rights, like they're
Yeah,
so quiet.
yeah,
They're
I agree.
just
They
so
are
quiet.
extremely quiet.
And I can't believe it's not just the biggest uproar in the world for them. I don't well, but I guess that's part of the problem is I feel like a lot of times it's all these guys speaking up on behalf of women. Like, it's just only been recently, after the swimming season ended, that a lot of those women started speaking up. And Penn State, or is it Penn State? University of Pennsylvania. Sorry, Penn State. My bad. The University of Pennsylvania, apparently these women were saying that they were told that they couldn't talk about it, that they would lose their spot on the team, that they couldn't discuss it or anything with anybody. They weren't allowed to.
Really?
But now that it's over,
Wow.
they're like, yeah, screw you all. And then here goes another step, right? Is apparently Leah Thompson at one of the things tied for third place or fifth place or whatever place with somebody else. But they didn't have a second medal, so they just gave it to Leah Thompson. The other lady had to just be SOL. We'll mail you one. Right? We'll mail you one because this dude sold your spot. And if this is all you have to do is just say, hey, well, I'm a fucking lady today and I do my 1 year testosterone blocker, and now I can just be the number one person in whatever sport I decide to play. You know, okay, let's take trying to think here. All right, name a pro basketball player that's retired.
Well, the only one that comes to my mind are Jordan.
Okay.
But
well, that's an unfair example because
Stockton,
he could go in and huh?
Stockton.
Okay, John Stockton. Is he still alive? I'm assuming.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
At 50 something or 60 something, whatever he is, he could go into women's sport, in WNBA, and just dominate as is. He could. That's a simple fact. At 50 or 60, he could go in and just dominate. And these kids that don't make it in the NBA and they go play overseas, any one of them could go into the WNBA and just dominate.
Yeah.
But that's like the thing, right? Is like
this opens up a whole new I didn't know about this Leah Thompson or the Lee Thompson. No.
What's Leah?
Is it Lee? Leah? Okay,
yeah.
Leah. Leah Thompson.
Yeah,
okay,
she was ranked like 400 in men. And this is like, there's lots of them, but this is like the main one that everybody's talking about right now. It's like, right.
Yeah. You do a search for that name, and it, like, I did LEA, and so that's why I'm like, yeah, it's all over.
But it's like here's my thing, right? Is if you were born with a Y chromosome, then you can compete in women's sports. If you weren't, then they need to make a transgender women's sports category for these people to compete in. And then if you were born with a Y chromosome and you want to compete with the guys, then just go ahead. They don't even need to do anything because that's irrelevant. You're never going to compete. It's just, that's a stupid idea.
I agree. I mean, I'm wondering, like, I'm starting to try to think what are some of these, not necessarily like professional sports, because I know there's a lot of sports out there, and there's a lot of hobbies. Let me put it there.
I only use that as a pinnacle of the top, right? Because the biggest problem is college. This girl is taking away a scholarship from a female athlete, a true female athlete.
Yes.
That's a problem.
And
especially with girls coming up, you know, at some point, it's going to be a thing. I was watching another one, and there was I think high school. It might have been college, but they were playing rugby. And after the game, the coach was like, "I got 3 players that I had to send to the hospital for concussion protocols and other stuff because this transgender dude was beating them up." It's a different athlete. The rugby is crazy physical without pads.
Oh yeah.
And
then on top of that, you introduce a different build because you guys are just built different.
Yeah.
And
and have the ability,
That's
even
wow.
even if you transition, you still have the ability because of your frame and your muscle structure and your skeletal structure to put on more mass than a regular
Yeah.
built female. That's just science. That's just like, and that's what I think pisses me off most is all these people when you talk to them about other stuff. It's like, oh, follow the science, follow the science. It's all about the science. And then you say, no, this is about the science. And they're like, oh, no. She feels like a female. Well, I don't care how she feels, because if you ever catch somebody and you get them on that question, you say, okay, how is it? Well, they feel like it. They identify. Okay, that is not changing your DNA. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. You were born with a Y chromosome or you were born with an X chromosome. That will never change, no matter what you do. Never change. And those that are born with an X chromosome are built differently, especially if they're allowed to go through puberty. They are just physically built differently.
They're different. I mean, I just decided I started thinking, I'm like, okay, the physical difference, you can look at bodybuilders. You got professional men and professional women. And yeah, they're just built different. They're just built different.
I mean, they have
Even though there's
different bone
muscles there.
structure, which
Exactly.
means
And
they
I
have
mean,
different muscle structures.
yeah,
It's just
exactly.
a fact of science. Like it's just the science, and that's this whole thing is just because you decide that you want to dominate a sport and like here's the devil's advocate of this, right? Okay, this person hasn't gone through surgery, they just identify as a female. Okay, what if they don't? What if they just wanted a free scholarship to a school and thought,
Yeah,
hell,
scholarship.
let me get some endorsements, let me make some money because I'm irrelevant in men's sports, let me just say I'm a female and I have no shame or any internal fortitude, so screw it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it this way. Like this is really opened up a different this has opened my eyes to a different way, a different area, because I don't have to deal with this as much as you do, Duck. Is like you said, it's starting to become apparent to you because you're going to have to start dealing with it. So I'm old, my kids are more grown up.
Well,
I don't know
but
if I'll have
see,
to
here's
deal
the
with it
thing:
quite as much.
is you say you don't have to deal with it, but look what Florida's having to
But I
deal with.
do.
You're right, but you
Yeah,
do because
I
Florida's
do. Yeah.
Florida's law. I'm not going to say what they termed it as because it's bullshit. It's basically a parent protection law, and they don't want teachers forcing identity politics and that kind of stuff in the classroom to kids that are, I think, it's third grade and below. I mean, I
Yeah.
like why would you be having a conversation with a third grader or below, which don't even barely even realize any of that stuff? To just
Which they don't see that way. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and
To them,
and that's the
they're
parent. That's
just
the
different. Yeah.
parent's job. And these people, and then
Yeah.
okay, so we weren't even going to talk about this, but hold on one second while we pull something up. Is that goes into our buddy Joe Biden here.
Mm,
Like we were going to do this as
yeah.
another topic, but we might as well
This was
just include
maybe
it in
maybe we
here
just start
because
talking on it. Yeah.
is Biden says students like teachers are like teachers' children when in the classroom. Except that's not even what he said. He said
No.
that's let's see, let me find the direct quote here. Oh, they're not someone else's children, they're our children. No, they are definitely not your children, asshole.
No.
You creepy children smelling creepo. Like no. I would never let you within 100 feet of my children because who knows what you and Secret Service would be scratching, sniffing around on kids
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, no. And
Yeah.
like,
This creeped me out because so some of my background is before I really decided to get into my career, I was trying to, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was kind of in that phase, right? But late high school, and I used to be a daycare. I can't remember the mind it blows. Now my mind is just because I get frustrated because the way this sounds, it sounds good. But on the other hand, what he really said behind what he really said is not right. It's just not.
I don't think it
It's
sounds
not
good no
right.
matter what, no matter how. Like I
Well,
can't rationalize this being good.
I used to like when I had had children in the classroom, I considered them my kids. Like that was my school year. Those were my kids. That's how I always said it, right? But there was a limit.
Well,
And I knew that.
and you didn't
But I
mean it
called
as
them
you're
my
their
kids.
parent.
Exactly. I did no. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, when I first read that, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, well, what teacher doesn't think of her kids as that, or their kids, like that's my class.
Yeah,
Those are my kids.
I see where
But
you
it's
like. Sure, they're your kids, but you're not their parents. But this jackass
this
says
exactly. That's what I was going to
he
say is
says
when
this
you
is a
hear it,
quote, by the way.
this was
This
bad.
is a Biden quote. You have heard me say it many times about our children, but it's true. They're all our children. And the reason you are Teacher of the Year is because you recognize that, Biden said. They're not somebody else's children. They're like yours when they're in your classroom. Okay, so somebody comes in the
No.
classroom and one of these kids shoots up the classroom, so now the teacher's responsible, right? So everybody's suing the teacher because they're your kids, and then they're our kids, so let's sue Biden and the teachers and the school now, because apparently when you go to school, the parents don't have any more rights, according to this jackass.
Yeah, and because of that, that's also why Florida had to step in, and
Right. And
it's
start
just
passing
weird.
laws. They're not the only one, but to start passing
No.
laws to protect parents' rights, because
No, California's stepped up and actually has done some too that
as a parent,
uh,
those are my
yeah.
kids. I don't.
Yeah.
You as a teacher, put your hands on my kids. God help you. God help you.
Yeah. Yeah,
You- because they're your kids. Well, God help you, because I feel sorry for what's about to happen to you.
it's
Like I this is just like it blows my mind. But this whole thing wraps up to, like, I don't even know how we got to one to the other, except for
yeah, I know. Other than yeah,
like
it's just
it started, like it started with people erasing women and women's rights. And because
yeah.
of the transgender thing, is that we're no longer protecting women, that we're protecting these mentally ill folks at some point, because that's generally kind of what it is an identity crisis, right? It used to be a mentally
Mhm.
ill thing, and now it's not. But now it's okay. But you have people like Biden trying to groom kids now. And
Yeah,
those
it's
other teachers, that, like, they think that when they're in the classroom, they can just say or do whatever the hell they want and impersonate. That's maybe not the wrong word, but groom your kids to their ideology. Whatever
yeah,
happened
exactly.
to teachers teaching facts and teaching how to have kids think on their own and to make their own decisions? Whatever happened to that? Because when I was growing up, that's what it was, right? It was, here's some
Yeah,
things. What do you think about that?
yeah.
This is what's in the history. This is what's written. How does that make you feel? What do you think about that? Create your own opinions about what happened in history or what's happening in today. But now to have these people force feeding their ideology down your kids' throat it's not
See, and I
right.
feel
It's
like
kind of
it's
scary.
kind of gone instead of helping, and I know that this does not come out right. I know that it's not that there's something's wrong, but instead of knowing that that child or that person, let me try to put it that way, I guess, that person is going through that. Why can't you try to identify with that person, start working with that person instead of bringing it up as this whole big he said like now it's everybody's problem.
Well,
Where I
but
feel like it's
see,
just it's causing a problem. I
I
don't know.
agree.
Maybe
I
the
think it is caught because it's like if they're not dealing with it or asking about it, you bringing it up
Mhm.
forces them to deal with something that they're maybe not ready for.
Well, see, and I also think that it could cause an issue with those that don't have any problem with it, right?
Right.
Like there's some people who know this is this is who I am, this is what I am, this is what I want. But now you're going to put kind of a question mark in there and kind of possibly it just seems like it's raising more of a problem than it's
And,
helping a
and
problem.
your job as a teacher should be to identify, okay, you're struggling. Why are you struggling? Okay, you're having these thoughts.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk to your parents about this.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
your parents
And
can help you.
counseling. Yeah, exactly. And get the counseling and get the yeah, it's identifying and help as a teacher, you're there to help teach and help encourage and identify where the strengths are for children and inform parents so that they
And
can help encourage their children to do more of that
because,
or
and like California was trying to pass laws about medical stuff where kids don't even have to tell their parents.
yes.
It's
Yeah,
like, wait
that
a
was a
minute.
law. Yeah, that was and they were young too. I can't remember the exact
Yeah, it's like,
age, but it
oh,
was
you want to get the shot in your arm? We'll give you a lollipop. We don't even have to
I
tell
wanna
your
say it was
parents.
13. I wanna say it was, like, really young. It was, like,
Okay, sure,
there was
go
stuff as
ahead.
13.
Oh, now Johnny's at home. He's having these reactions or convulsions on the floor, and we have no idea what happened to him.
Yeah, now you don't know, yeah.
Great.
Is he on any medication? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Well, he's not talking. I don't know. He's yeah,
Like
just
parents'
seems wrong.
rights are eroding, and that's not right. But back to the thing is this all boils back to why are we not protecting women? And then why are we
Yeah,
letting this kind of stuff happen to erode our children? And where's the protection for our children, the most vulnerable, right? Like this is one of those topics that we could ramble on for hours and
we could
hours
go
and
on
hours.
forever.
Like, but this is the thing is women's rights are being eroded as we speak. And just
Mhm.
now are women starting to get more vocal and speak up. But the problem is I think Elon Musk's Twitter takeover will help because now they won't be censored for speaking up.
Yeah,
Before you speak up and then you're censored. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if this video never makes it on YouTube after our last
that's
one. I wouldn't be surprised. But I've
fingers
seen
crossed.
other videos talking about this, so I'm just gonna assume it's okay, even though they're much bigger than my channel,
We'll
but we'll see
we'll
what happens.
try. Yeah.
But but like how can you speak up if like with Twitter you just would get banned, right? Oh no, you can't talk about that.
Well, everything's becoming censored too. Like I've I've had conversations at a dinner table and I've said things and my wife looks at me and she's like, "You can't say that." And I'm like, "Why?" You know, and this is talking to family members and I'm like, "Well, why can't I say that?" She's like, "Well, that comes across rude." And I'm like, "It wasn't rude though. It's this and this is what it was meant." And then the person was like, "That's not how I took it. You offended me." And I'm like, "What the?"
Well,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know about you, but I mean, if you're at my
yeah,
table
it's
and I can't talk and I offended you, you can get the hell out of my house before I throw you the my house. Because if we
it's
can't have a
yeah,
conversation, if you're gonna get all offended about having a conversation, then this ain't the place for
that's
you.
what it yeah, it's like it's becoming offensive to everybody, and I'm like, you
But
just
but that's the instant thing. The moment a topic gets brought up that somebody either knows that they can't defend or they're slightly worried about talking about it. It's like, oh, it's offensive. Oh, it's not politically correct. We can't say that. We can't talk about that. It's like, okay, so you just never have a conversation about it? It's like,
the yeah, exactly. Like my son's dating a girl who she I really enjoy having her around and everything, and she's really fun. And she kind of this is going to sound negative, but it's not. She likes to debate. Like it's just the way she was raised. She debates in what she believes. She will debate, but she's also very open to having a discussion about it, right? Her and I, like, we have conversations, and my wife and other kids are like, and they'll be quiet. And it's like, I like this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is a conversation. I am speaking my mind, she is speaking hers, and we debate it. And sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes she's wrong. But I love it. I think it's great. But that kind of, like, I don't see that kind of stuff happening. Like, I
Well,
can't even do that kind of stuff around
I
work.
think things are so divisive right now, especially with the political
Yeah.
stuff. Like, is people can't even entertain or even see the other side of the argument at all.
No.
But let's go back and circle back before this gets really out of control.
Yeah.
Is
This was just an open rant for all.
yeah, is where is the protect? You know, that's part of this video is the number one question: where is the protection for women? Where is it going? What has happened to it? Because I don't feel like women are being protected right now. I feel like they're erasing women from societal norms, and they like now you're like, oh, you can't say women because, you know, what does that mean? It's like it means you have a Y chromosome. That's what that means.
Yeah.
And and that's kind of the scary thing is it's only been since the 60s that women have even been able to vote, right? In the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 60 years. And now all of a sudden women's rights are put on the back burner because people feel a certain way. Like that's
Yeah.
a scary thing is somebody's feelings are getting in the way of science and their rights are being eroded because people want to feel a certain way and can't even like I don't have a problem with you being transgender, gay, bisexual, whatever. Like whatever you do in your house or whatever
Whatever
you
you want.
do is that's you. That's you living your life and fantastic, live it.
Good
But
for you. Yeah.
pushing your ideology, your deals onto other people that don't agree with it isn't right. Like
Exactly.
and then you get the argument like, well, you regular sexual people, whatever, I don't even know what they call people anymore that are normal or that's
But
probably not even that good.
yeah.
See, that's probably normal
Yeah,
is right, not the right word
exactly.
anymore, right? Is like okay, whatever, heterosexual. There you go. The normal heterosexual people, you guys can go do and things, and you know, and you when you're out and about, it offends us. So, well, okay, well, we're not pushing it on you. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing is how can you not take everybody else's thoughts into there? And that's where I think is the problem is right is you want to flaunt it or throw it in everybody's face, and then when they get mad, you get upset. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
That's
with this transgender thing is okay, if you here's the thing is if you want to be a woman, how are you not seeing what you're doing to the people you want to be like? Right? Is you know you were a man, you know you're born you're a man, you know you're different because you went from 450th to number 1 and your times didn't change, you didn't get better all of a sudden, right? You just decided you were a woman one day. How can you not see what you're doing to people that are actually women?
yeah.
Like if you want to be them, how can you not help protect all the rights and protections that they've been afforded? How can you not help protect that or help foster that? You should be the first one. You should be the first one to say this isn't right because we're taking it away from naturally born women. You should be the
Yeah.
first one that says, yeah, I can't go in the women's locker room until I take care of this because this makes women uncomfortable. How can you not be the first one? And I think that's part of the problem is society is so trying to be so careful about hurting people's feelings
Yeah.
that they quit
Exactly.
protecting regular folks. And now Biden, you know, he's like, oh, well, we can groom your children because they're not your children. They're my children when they're in school. bro.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we just stop protecting the most vulnerable people, and that's the problem. It's like, okay, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop here. Krow, what do you got to say? Well, summarize your
No,
sum up, and what do you got to say about this? Because I'm just gonna
no,
go on
I
and on.
just I agree. It's I've always tried to take the approach of it's your life, it's your opinions, and what you want to do. I try to support people with that. I appreciate everybody who stops by the channels, all the all the feedback, and I love all the people that I've come in most people that I've come in contact with. But there's I try to help support people because if that's what you believe, then that's what you need to do. And but I think you also need to look back sometimes, take that step back and make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons and make sure that you're helping that drive and you stand behind that belief as much as you're willing to take the sacrifice, not just reap the rewards. There's sometimes you gotta work for those rewards. And like what you're saying, Duck, I feel like it's now even the normal, if that's what you want to call it, normal people are now starting to feel really hindered, and there for a while we're not going to be able to support anybody because it's everybody's going to be offended. So anyway, I don't. Yeah, this is a long topic and probably one that will probably maybe come up again if we can even get this one out. I don't know. But yeah, it's a tough topic too because somebody's offended. But if you've made it this far, wow, congratulations. But somebody's going to
Yeah,
be offended.
you made it this far in
It's
the video. You're a
yeah,
true OG, man. But
yeah. Leave a
so
comment for sure and
so
say hi.
like,
But
are we way off base? Leave a comment. Are we? Do you feel the same way? Let us know. Like where is this going? Where's the protection for those, and how do we protect those that are most vulnerable that need that protection? When
yeah,
when even the
that's
leader
another
is
thing too.
trying to press their own ideology on folks. That's just
And
crazy
I
for the
just yeah,
president to say that.
I agree. I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that one too because it's another topic. But
Damn it,
anyway,
Biden, keep your hands off our kids. God damn it.
yeah, keep your hands to yourself. I think that was a rule we used to
Scratch and
have.
sniff weirdo. Jesus.
Anyway, that's all. That's all we got here tonight, folks. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Much love all.
See ya.